Well, the year is almost over. And if you ask any PlayStation fan how this year was for them when it comes to first party content, they would say that they had a fire lineup. Yes, these ponies are saying that what made this year one of the greatest years for PlayStation was Astrobot and Lego Horizon.
You serious?
Jameson, these guys are crazy. They are saying PlayStation had more heat than a yoga fire and a yoga flame.
Yoga fire. Yoga fire. Yoga flame.
Don't worry guys, no ponies were hurt in this video. You see, the PlayStation community have a little predicament. You see, all through the year they were boasting about Black Myth Wukong, but when Black Myth Wukong came up against their sweet Astrobot, they had to choose one, and guess what? They are choosing Astrobot. So much so that, you know, Reforge is basically calling out. He's saying he's not a pony. He is not a pony because he is talking bad about Black Myth Wukong. Listen to this.
It's super angry on my top games of 2024, and he could not believe that I didn't mention Black Myth Wukong. And I'm like, are you freaking kidding me? I said it was one of my most anticipated games, but the game runs like crap on PS5. They use frame gen to double the frames of a 30 FPS game. Cry more because someone didn't praise your favorite game. Has nothing to do with my feelings, but not to mention it is suspect. I'm not the only one who told you all this. I don't answer to grifting liars and haters.
You sure about that? You sure about that?
Answer to my own standards. And Black Myth Wukong is well below what I will play. It's well below what I would play, bro. I don't answer to liars, grifting liars and haters who consistently try to cast me as something that I'm not. What's interesting is they have to decide what I am. Because if I'm a pony, the ponies were celebrating Black Myth Wukong because it's basically an exclusive at this point for the console. Yes, it's on PC, but the ponies were celebrating Black Myth Wukong because the Xbox boys couldn't get it. Well, if I'm a pony, why am I being so brutal and so honest about Black Myth Wukong? What? You've got to pick a narrative about me. You can't maintain that I'm some grifting, dishonest pony when every single pony on Twitter was throwing confetti in the air and boasting and bragging about how great Black Myth Wukong was, and I was one of the few people being honest about how poorly it was performing on the PlayStation. So you got to pick a narrative. If you want to, be out here trying to call me out about honesty and integrity, maybe have some of your own to speak of before you come at me.
Come on, Reforge, we know why you are speaking out against Black Myth Wukong, because you are not the only PlayStation guy doing it. You see, when Black Myth Wukong was announced that it was going to get delayed on the Xbox, you, Reforge, together with all the ponies, were celebrating it. You guys were saying that Black Myth Wukong was an exclusive game to PlayStation. Yes, I remember that well. You see, what Black Myth Wukong did to get you ponies angry was to be nominated in the same Game of the Year nominees with Astrobot. That left you guys in a dilemma, because here you have this new hot game going up against your beloved Astrobot, and of course each pony is going to choose their first party title over anything. They will never say Black Myth Wukong is the better game. We know that. And the mere fact that the developers were angry that Black Myth Wukong did not win Game of the Year, the mere fact that fans were saying yes, Black Myth Wukong should have won, right now you ponies are angry with Game Science and Black Myth Wukong. So don't pretend that you are not a pony because you are talking bad about Black Myth Wukong. Black Myth is not a first-party PlayStation exclusive and it came up against Astrobot. For that reason, you are going hard against Black Myth. We know you are pony. You gallop every day and night. But today we are not going to talk about that. Today we are going to talk about how PlayStation fans are worried about how PlayStation don't have any roadmap. Wow. In addition to that, we're going to look at how Digital Foundry has crowned the king and the queen of the best graphics of 2024. You won't believe which games he chose. I mean, this would have the PlayStation community big mad. So you know what? Let's get it.
This is a sickness!
Let's get it. So here it is. If this type of content interests you, please consider hitting the like and subscribe button. No doubt we are on the road to 4,000 subscribers and your sub would aid in that. Of course, we give you some of the best Xbox content this side of YouTube, and of course, we specialize in the Sony Pony Salt. So if this tickle your fancy, please consider subscribing today. Now let's get back to the video. So currently, everyone knows that Xbox is on fire. Why? Because they have game after game after hit after hit. Yes, and all of this started back with Hellblade 2. And it continued with Indiana Jones. And we all know the roadmap that is 2025. There are some persons who are saying currently 2025 is stacked for Xbox and their platform. So persons were wondering if Xbox has all these first-party content coming. We know they will have third-party deals as well. Then what does PlayStation have? I mean, this is a very good question by these ponies. Listen to MBG as he tries to understand what is Sony doing.
And is the state of play? My gut is telling me there are no rumors about the state of play yet. The event referenced in the title is for CES 2025, but when it comes to the state of play, my gut's telling me it's going to be January. Sony did a state of play last January, and we seem to be there seems to be a pattern with both Sony and Microsoft, and maybe we can throw Nintendo in there now, because Nintendo apparently is going to reveal the Switch 2 in January. Microsoft's going to be holding their Developer Direct in January. They've been doing that seemingly every January for the past couple of years. And I think Sony's starting to get comfortable with the idea of having a state of play every January. Because one of the things I was expecting at the Game Awards this year when it comes to PlayStation was for them to kind of lay out something. Like, a lot of people were like, oh, they're going to have Days Gone remastered, or I was talking about the idea of this rumored God of War collection showing up, because right now Sony doesn't have anything. I mean, literally, they have nothing.
I'm here to tell you right now, we don't care. Let me tell you, we don't care.
Not even well, they have Spider-Man 2 for PC, but putting that aside, they don't have anything lined up between for January, February, or March. And then even after that, in April, it's another PC port with The Last of Us Part 2. So they only have 2 PC ports lined up, nothing else. That to me is a little suspicious, where it's like, that's a pretty, I mean, that's like over a quarter of the year. I mean, we did see Sony at the Game Awards with Naughty Dog and, Helldivers 2 and whatnot. So it's not like they didn't show up, but another thing too, yeah, that's absolutely worth pointing out is at this point in time last year, we knew about like 2 or 3 games that were not necessarily from Sony's first-party studios, but we knew about The Last of Us Part 2 Remastered. We knew about Helldivers 2. We knew about Final Fantasy VII Rebirth. We knew about Rise of the Ronin. These are things I believe we did know about. And so we basically had, like, every month there was something that Sony was dropping. Whereas this year, there's nothing.
Could you hear the pain? Could you taste the anguish? You see, MBG is coming to the realization that Sony has nothing to show. Yes, he is now understanding that, Sony really don't have anything so far this year to show. No roadmap. Sony did is that they showed their big surprising title at the Game Awards. And when we look at how the public received that game, it's rough. Sony has to do something about that. How would Sony dig themselves out of that intergalactic premiere? How would they dig themselves? How the entire gaming community is saying, yeah, what? This ain't it, Sony. This ain't it. Now, in addition to that, we would have seen the leak footage of Wolverine, and let's just say that game is looking rough. Sandpaper has nothing on that game. Wow. So what would Sony do? Microsoft chose not to give Jeff Keighley show any kind of big announcements for Xbox. They are choosing to use those same announcements in their own show, which is smart. Now Sony would have used up all the big announcements that they would have used in a state of play. Now they are scrambling for what to show. That is why we are not seeing any major roadmap for PlayStation. While we already know massive games coming for Xbox, and we know Xbox has a lot more in store this year. So let me hear what you think about persons worried about what Sony would show, or what show Sony has in store for their gamers. Let me know in the comment sections below. And finally, let's talk about the best graphics of 2024. You see, the PlayStation community has given Digital Foundry a lot of power in the gaming industry. They quote these guys every time they say something. So that is why I know it's paining the PlayStation community right now, because Digital Foundry said something about the best graphics this year. Listen carefully and let's see what Digital Foundry says and who or what are their picks for the best graphics of 2024.
Why don't you talk us through why we feel, especially, you covered it, I covered it on Xbox, you covered it on PC, but why Indiana Jones is up here? Like, what makes this so darn impressive that Digital Foundry would put this so high on this list?
So, Indiana Jones, okay, what do we want to put on this list? And we were just waiting to film this video until Indiana Jones came out because we didn't know what it really looked like. We had seen a little bit of it. And I think having seen the full game in John's video and in my video now that we've made on it, that I think we've seen the fact that it is a much more ambitious game than it would have let on. Like, I originally thought this was going to be a first-person Uncharted clone. No, not gonna lie.
No. Microsoft did not copy Sony when it comes to this game. We know Indy is the first. Long before Lara Croft, long before Uncharted, we know that Indiana Jones basically set and blazed the trail when it comes to this style of game. So it was very fitting to see Indiana Jones do something different from those other games, and we are all happy for it.
It is nothing like those series of games. It is so weirdly different. It is almost out of time. It is strange that it's releasing this year. And you go to like a variety of different locales that are, it is not open world, but it's like a surprisingly large hub area per each area you're in. Not every level is this way, but a lot of them are. And they're intricately detailed, like a Hitman mission is, in terms of like what you can find and look at in each level. It is probably I don't know how they did it, but it has it has super high quality objects that you can just run across in the game world. Like, every little thing is really well textured and geometrically detailed, but there's like a great variety of them. Each location is completely different. So I don't know if that's years of work or if they have some sort of crazy scanning setup where they could just scan things into the game really quickly to get them up and running, because the amount of art time that must have been spent there seems ridiculous to me. Like, you start on one level and it has completely different objects than another level.
Yes, DF is perplexed as to how Machine Games was able to get all these high-res, objects into this game so quickly. They are amazed of how beautiful all the different scenes, all the different locations in Indiana Jones has so many high-res objects. Wow, it's amazing.
Usually there's a lot more continuity in games. That is a little bit of budget and time and all that stuff, but here it really sells it because Indiana Jones going across the entire world. And I think pushing to be a baseline game that drives nearly all of its lighting with a real-time global illumination system, PC and console, Xbox Series S as well too.
I beg your pardon. I beg your pardon.
And the frame rate that they target for that, unlike Senua here, is 60 FPS. And let's be honest, 60 FPS is the premier way to play a game, and higher, right? Like, there's nothing better than that crispness of it. And they managed to hit it pretty darn often, John, right? Like, seriously?
Oh, like 60 FPS on the console especially?
Yeah.
Oh my god, it's basically perfect. It's really cool. So Indiana Jones and the Great Circle takes the _1 spot. Number 2, of course, being Hellblade 2. Number 3, Star Wars Outlaws, with that lovely Snowdrop engine.
Snowdrop.
So we did it, gents.
How?
Hopefully people are not too angry with our choices.
Yes, they would be angry with those choices. So it's very clear. According to Digital Foundry Ponies, Indiana Jones is the best looking game for 2024, followed up by Hellblade 2 and then, of course, Star Wars Outlaws. So how do you feel about this, Ponies? We are saying that Microsoft is producing quality game. Microsoft is producing the best sets of games, and it shows. And all of these games is the one on Game Pass. Remember when you guys said Game Pass is just for shovelware games? Well, it's very clear that Microsoft is putting the top tier of AAA games onto Game Pass. But don't worry, Ponies, just now you would have to pay full price for Indiana Jones, while we over here in the Xbox community, we will be eating it day one on Game Pass. So let me hear what you thought about the video today. Don't forget to like and subscribe for more videos. I'll see you guys in the next one. Later.